What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another week of the Phaithful Phanatics Show. We are live here on DSM-Media's Philadelphia YouTube and Twitter channel. Guys, first and foremost, if you are over on the Twitter channel, just make sure to pop on over to the YouTube channel. It's the best spot to get your thoughts, comments, and questions. Pull up here on the screen with your host. Make sure to smash that subscribe button as well. We appreciate each and every one of you that tune in with us. I'm one half of your host this morning, Dylan Davis. To my right, my faithful co-host, Scotty. The Sixers fall to the Knicks in Game 1. 111-104. Joel Embiid suffers yet another injury scare. We're going to talk about Game 1 and what needs to change. And hopefully the big fella had a very speedy recovery and is good to go tonight. And we'll also get into Game 2's action tonight. Can the Sixers bring the series back with a split 1-1 to the Wells Fargo Center? But my man, happy Monday and hope you had a good weekend.
Happy Monday, brother. You were part of the great weekend, so I can't complain there.
Festivities.
Yeah, I mean, I say great. It was a great weekend, and I think you have to know it was great if I'm calling it a great weekend with the Sixers L included.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty good weekend, man, overall for just regular life outside of the Philly sports spectrum. Philly's had a great weekend. Let's be honest there as well. But I will say, man, like we were together on Saturday. We watched that game. The vibes weren't great after the game. Obviously, the Embiid injury was kind of bigger than the loss, I would say. But you leave the game, you start to hear some of the reports after the game, and all of a sudden, man, it's almost, I don't want to say my confidence is higher after the loss because that doesn't make sense.
Right.
But it almost feels like that loss was supposed to happen. Like, if the Knicks don't win that game, what does that look like? I mean, are they getting swept?
Correct.
Like, if you don't win the first game at home,
fair, like they are the home team. You are the number two. You are supposed to take care of home floor. Like that's what's supposed to happen.
Now, if we lose this one, then we start reevaluating, right? Like if we lose tonight, then we reevaluate the Sixers and 6. Like, are they going to win 4 in a row? I don't know about that, right? Like, so I don't know. I guess the better way to put it is that the Game 1 loss didn't deter my confidence in this series.
Not at all. And
the Embiid injury
to start.
Up in the air is what where the concern comes.
And all we can really do for that is just hope, man, and just give it a couple hours to see what the initial report is. Is he at morning shoot around? Is he a full participant? Is he going to be going through his pregame routine and just seeing how things go from there? Right. That's what we just have to sit back and just wait for, because you can't control anything with that. You can't discuss anything with that other than it absolutely sucks. And of course, like it is the epitome of Joel Embiid's career. Like, of course, on that ridiculous, just out of this world play for a 7'2" guy with a knee brace on. Duck under, follow through, off the backboard, one hand jam through two bodies. And he lands awkwardly and hobbles that knee, and he's down. And, of course, no one stops play, even though they hadn't even inbounded the ball when he was already down. The Knicks get a 5-on-4 and get a dunk. The crowd's cheering when he goes down. They say they didn't cheer, but if you listen to the replay, they quite literally had a extra little jump in volume at the Garden when they noticed that he stayed down on the ground for a second. But this is a perfect comment to start, because I don't know if we did, and that's why I'm so confused about Saturday. The Knicks aren't going to be able to win a series playing the way they just did. Now, the alternative is, well, Brunson didn't play well.
Can play better.
Are you going to continue to eliminate Jalen Brunson from the game plan like that? Is Jalen Brunson going to get 40, 42 one night?
Right.
But if Nick Nurse's plan is to do exactly what they executed on Saturday, I'm living and dying by it. Yeah. I'll live and die by the 31% three-point shooter hitting 4 threes and 3 of them coming down the stretch of the fourth quarter. He didn't hit 3 threes in a game all year long. He hit 3 in like the final 6 minutes of this game. Miles mother effing McBride starts 5 for 5 from 3. We talked about Bogdanovich before the game, Scotty, how he's kind of been a non-factor the last couple months for New York ever since the trade deadline. Comes out, banks in a 3 from the top of the key, goes 2 for 3 from three-point land.
Yeah.
if that's how the New York Knicks plan on beating the 76ers 4 times, all I'll say is good luck, and that's why I think you're confident still moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think I agree with that, because when you look back at the game and, Marty McBride is in there just cranking threes down our throat. It starts to, it's definitely heating in the moment. Like, I was heated in the moment to see this stuff. See Shake Milton on the bench, like smiling and smirking and shit. It was definitely getting on my nerves, but I think that speaks more to your point. Like, why is it getting on your nerves? Because it's guys that it just shouldn't be happening from. Like, I think the thing that blew me, like, looking back on this game is like, man, how does Miles McBride come in, crank in? How many threes did he have? Like, at least 3 to 4. Like, he had at least 3 to 4 threes. I'm pretty sure
he started 5 for 5. He was
did
5
he have
for
5?
7. 5 for 7.
God, yeah. And so, like, I look at him, and then I look at Buddy Hield coming in off our bench, and I'm like, well, what the fuck? Like, that's what Buddy Hield is supposed to be doing for us. But to your point, man, I think when you look at this game, when you start to look at the trajectory of the rest of the series, there's guys on our team that's going to play a lot better. There's guys on their team that are going to play better. Things are going to, look a little bit different. But I do agree with your point. Like, if they're having to rely on Miles McBride and the Josh Harts and the Bogdanoviches of the world, and the successful plan of Batum and Kelly Oubre, guarding Jalen Brunson seemed to work, right? Like, it seemed to work really well. We were able to keep him off the free throw line for a good part of the game. So it did work, and I think that is kind of what you heard Batum talking about after the game. It's like, okay, so like we figured some of the things out, but now it's the extra stuff. Like, how do we keep from letting guys just get wide open threes? And I think that's going to be the difference going forward. But the positive for me, man, the underlying positive here, obviously Kyle Lowry had a great game in this game, but Tyrese Maxey, man, he started to like really do whatever he wanted in the second half, like getting to the lane.
14 of 26 from the floor.
I think that's going to be a huge key going down the stretch, whether they adjust to him and they have to, guard and approach him differently. They don't have a single person that can guard Tyrese Maxey. That's what I'm getting at right now. They can throw all these big bodies at Joel while he's, 70, 75%, 80%, whatever. They can make it tough on him. He's still going to have a better game than what he had last time. I do believe that.
8 for 22 from the floor.
He's only going to get better, more conditioned, in my opinion. His lungs are only going to get better. The knee, he's going to have the tweaks. I think the brace is a big part of like the discomfort that we're constantly seeing for him. So I know he will be better, but I think Maxey, he hit the 30-point mark in this game. I think he can continue to do that. I think he can average a 27 to 33 type of series in this series, because all the talk about Brunson, man, coming into this series and like the matchups against him, and I get it, Brunson's an excellent player. He's got these, like, the way he plays is really ironed out. He's really like a guy that was in college for 4 years, 5 years. You know what I mean? Like, he's mature in his game. But Maxey, like, there's nobody that can match up with him, man. So like, I don't know. I guess I feel like the Maxey matchup was kind of undersold coming into the series because there's so much hype on Brunson. Whereas we got a couple different guys we can throw at Brunson with length, with quickness, with physicality, and with IQ. And I look at the Knicks. I know they're going to try the OG Anunoby thing, but he was looking like a cone, dude. Like, Maxey was zooming past this guy with his first step. So I'm interested to see what their adjustment will be there. I think it's going to ultimately open up the game for guys like Kelly Oubre. I think a lot of that backdoor cutting, stuff like that, is going to be key in this next game. But to TR's point about what Nick Batum said coming out of this game, I thought that was very, very interesting. Basically saying they figured some stuff out in film, watching some tape back. And then, the rumors about Embiid in the locker room kind of bringing guys together after the game, looking at some tape fresh out of the shower, and having the good vibes. I think, from the sound of it out of the locker room, is that the Sixers still have a heavy belief that they can win this series. And that's all I really need to.
And I do too, but I do want to get to the problems, right? Because I open up by saying, listen, you lost this game with a 31% free throw, 3-point shooter getting hot. I know TR said Miles been cooking up all year. He's averaging 8 points a game. He scored 21. I don't know that he's been cooking like this all year. He hit 5 threes. So those things I don't expect to continue. The issue is Nick Nurse can do everything in his power to limit Jalen Brunson like he did. They can find stuff in the film room all they want and execute on the floor defensively. That's fantastic. There are still 2 major problems that this team has that only the players can fix. Has nothing to do with Nick Nurse. Only the players can do this. Now, maybe if you want to argue he needs to get bigger, do you want Paul Reed and Joel out on the floor together? Yada, yada, yada. We can discuss that. But 2 things happen on Saturday. Marshawn Lynch hit the one. 55-33 on the glass.
Yeah.
55-33. You gave up 23 offensive rebounds. We had single-digit offensive rebounds of our own. Well, there's problem number 1.
Yeah.
This is an NBA playoff game.
Yeah. And it was the number 1 problem coming into this series. Yeah. Like, we knew that. Like, we knew that this was the issue.
But the
it's a bigger, wider gap than I thought, though.
This isn't the previous undersized, unathletic Sixers where Tobias Harris is your second most athletic guy on the court.
Right.
You have size in Tobias, in Oubre, in Batum. Are they the biggest guys around? No, but they're 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", all the way around a 7'2" Joel Embiid. You should be able to group rebound.
Yeah.
You should be able to do something about that, okay?
Yeah.
And a lot of it's effort. Of it's effort. I mean, Josh Hart and Isaiah Hartenstein tipping balls to the corner with Tobias Harris on them and outrunning Tobias as he just stands there waiting for the ball to go out of bounds. We'll get to him in a few moments. But that's problem number 1. That cannot continue to be a problem for this team this series, because then you are going to find yourself in trouble. Those 3-point shooters we're talking about, they might not shoot the ball the best. Josh Hart, like we said, under 32%. You give him multiple chances in a possession, he's going to bury it. OG Anunoby got a kick out to the corner. Cashes in a 3 from the corner off of an offensive rebound. You can't allow that to happen. And the other thing is just classic Sixers playoff issues. The non-Joel Embiid minutes. I mean, this is becoming like a fucking epidemic with this team, dude. He was a plus 14 in 37 minutes. In a 7-point loss. Do you know how embarrassing that is? A game high plus 14 for the Sixers.
The entire bench, man.
In 37 minutes, and they lost by 7.
Nick Batum.
Because when he wasn't on the floor, regardless of the injury, I'm just talking breaks. I'm just talking rest. They look like a dysfunctional franchise. They can't score without him on the floor. They can't move the ball without him on the floor. They can't rebound without him on the floor. And I'll say this, listen, maybe both of them on the floor at the same time can fix some things. I'm tired of hearing about how Paul Reed needs to get on the floor with Joel Embiid. Paul Reed is as fucking useless as always, dude. Why do you think they get killed on the glass? Because he's a 6'9" backup center playing a position he shouldn't be playing, like I said all year. Now, maybe you want to argue him out there at power forward next to the 7-footer. They can rebound better together. Sure. But now you're limiting us on the offensive end because he has to stand his ass in the corner because Joel's out there with him. I don't need any more of the Paul Reed experiment. KJ Martin, maybe. Ricky Council, maybe. But I don't need any more of that, okay? But, I mean, this is ridiculous, dude. The New York Knicks won a game by 7, and their entire starting lineup was a minus. Dante DiVincenzo was a minus 23, and your bench got killed that badly. Bojan, plus 27. McBride, plus 37. Mitchell Robinson, plus 20. That's fucking embarrassing. Absolutely disgusting. So that needs to get fixed, bro. Like ASAP. ASAP. Buddy Hield playing 11 minutes, taking 2 shots, inexcusable. Why ever campaign can... See, that's the one thing I will say Nick Nurse can control moving forward, Scotty. What made the Sixers such a good team this year that we talked about around Joel is their depth, right? How on any given night, someone off this bench can get hot or contribute. He's limiting that. He's squeezing. Campaign played 3 minutes. Buddy Hield played 11. Paul Reed played. You basically ran 6 guys out on the floor.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they had 3 guys come off their bench and absolutely torch you. You can't take away what's made this team special all year long. I know the starting 5's going to play way more minutes than they do in the regular season, but you have to find a way for other guys to play involved. Tobias Harris played 31 minutes. Better not anymore. Better not be playing 31 minutes anymore.
I do think it's also just, it's what you said at the beginning too, though. The guys have to make a concerted effort.
Oh, damn. Why can't I hear you?
Rebound.
Hold on.
Huh?
You're not muted. Let me see if it's my AirPods. Talk now.
Yo.
Now I get it.
All right. Yeah, I was gonna say. I think it's also just a lot of what you said at the beginning too. It's like just making a concerted effort to impact the rebounding, right? Like, excuse me. You look across the board for this Sixers team, right? And I was going down the list here, and you have 2 guys that actually came in the game and didn't grab a rebound, like didn't impact the game, right? Like Buddy Hield came in, he took 2 shots, missed them both. Missed a layup as well, by the way, which is just huge momentum killers. Yeah. I'm tired of seeing that. But then you also come in and you don't grab any rebounds. You're not making an effort to get on the boards. Whereas you go down to the Knicks, it's the little things, man. But you look across the board for the Knicks box score, there's 1 player that has below 3 rebounds in the game. It's Dante DiVincenzo. He had 2 rebounds. Every single player outside of Dante DiVincenzo that came into that game had over 3 rebounds at least, which means there's an effort to it, right? Like there's every single guy is thinking, if that ball comes off, I got to grab that. We got to get it going.
Get 13 rebounds. One reason only. Effort.
It's it, man. It's it. And I think to that point, the one guy that comes to my mind that could maybe help this out is KJ Martin, man. He showed all year against the more physical teams like the Miami Heat, like the New York Knicks, that he'll get in there and he'll bang, man. He does have like the personality of his father. He has a little bit of that in him, man. And just putting a dog out there on the floor, I think like you look at Tobias, he's an example, but he's just a deer in headlights sometimes, man. He looks like a fucking dumbass sometimes. Like we can obviously talk about him, but like he's just an example. KJ Martin, go in there, even if it's a negative impact at first because he fouls somebody hard. Yeah. It's still momentum. It's still physicality. It's still making an impact in the game. And that's kind of what I'm looking at, man. I think Ricky Council, he's an obvious guy. I think he just doesn't have like the size that I would like to kind of come in and maybe play like the 4 next to Embiid or something. But KJ Martin, he comes to mind. He could help with the rebounding. He could help with the physicality. He could help with the banging around inside. But overall, I believe you made it your first point, and it was guys just have to like go out on the court and make an effort, make it your goal to grab every single thing that comes off the glass. Yeah. It's just an identity. Like I don't know, man. It makes me wonder, like, what is being implemented here, man? Like I don't know. The rebounding thing,
and I think it's frustrating because they shouldn't have this issue. Like
we thought we fixed the bench
side by side. The Sixers are not greatly undersized. No, they're not. They're not greatly outdone in the athleticism department. Okay, like Josh Hart is not the biggest, most athletic dude in the NBA by any stretch of the imagination. It is effort. It is want to. Yeah. It is I'm going to get that ball. Hartenstein is not a better rebounder. It should not be a better rebounder than Joel Embiid, and obviously Joel hobbles, so that makes a little bit more difficult on his body. But you see Hartenstein tipping balls out, tipping balls to himself to put him in a position to get to a rebound on the baseline.
Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah, man. It's very Mitchell Robinson came off the bench and gave you 12 boards.
Yeah. Yeah. That's coming in and knowing what you're coming in to do. Like, and that's not like Marshawn Lynch said, I don't believe that Nick Nurse is out here just like letting these guys wander out there like Dr.
No. And we agree, Marsh. That's on the players to have.
Like these guys got to make a choice right now. Like going into this next game tonight, they need to make a decision. We're not going to get out rebounded by 20 plus tonight. We're not going to get out rebounded tonight.
Yeah, like I was going to say, fuck that. We're going to win the rebounding battle.
Yeah, it's got to be a choice. The other thing I wanted to ask you, though, we talked about the bench heavily here. Obviously, it's not going to work the way it's going. Like, it's not going to work out with Nick Batum minus 20, Paul Reed minus 21, and Buddy Hield minus 16. So my question to you, what exactly would you do here? Like, I think we look at Campaign, maybe give him more minutes. He's a ball handler. He's not afraid to let it fly. He's not afraid to get to the rack and create. Nick Batum, I think you keep Batum at the same, right? Like 25 to 30 minutes.
Maybe, man, maybe. Scotty, it depends. That's what I was going to say. So, like, the difficult thing that you and I literally talked about before was you can't just pull minutes out of the air. Like, Embiid, hopefully, is going to play 37, 38, 39 minutes. Maxey can play over 40 minutes like he has been.
Yeah.
But I think literally everybody else, in my opinion, needs to be a game-to-game basis, right? So Lowry played 39 minutes. I think rightfully so. I think he was locked in defensively. I think he was locked in, obviously 18 points, efficient shooting. He grabbed 4 rebounds, had a steal, had a block. Kyle Lowry deserved those minutes.
Yeah.
But like Nico Batum, so minus 20 and was 1 for 4 in 26 minutes. Kelly Oubre, 39 minutes, 3 for 7. Now, granted, Kelly plays a major role on the Brunson front, possibly. So you have to. But my point is, I think you can lump Lowry, Tobias, Batum, and Kelly all in this area where they're going to get playing time. Who takes advantage of it are the ones in the crunch time minutes, and who's not.
And
that's
Tobias.
where I'm allowing Campaign and Buddy Hield and other guys to get a sliver of playing time. They shouldn't be locked. Like, basically, Kyle Lowry shouldn't be locked into 38 minutes a night.
Yeah. I could see Kyle Lowry. I could see Kyle Lowry's minutes dropping tonight because he had so many in game 1, right? Like, maybe tonight you give Campaign a few more minutes of Kyle Lowry's tonight. Like,
I think he's someone that can help, man. Like, I mean, you didn't shoot terribly from 3, but you were 34% from the 3-point line. You could have used an extra spark there.
Tobias Harris, I mean, he's obviously the obvious one, but moving him down to 25, I do think, like you said, like maybe if you move Kelly Oubre down to 35 minutes a game, maybe he's more impactful, maybe he's more effective, right? So I don't know. It is all things to consider, but you gotta? I feel like you have to keep Buddy Hield in the rotation right now. Like you have to hope that he can just get hot.
He just has to figure it out, man. He has to knock down threes. It's that simple, bro. Like you are one of the best 3-point shooters in the fucking world.
This is his first time in the playoffs too, man. Like prove yourself.
Like come on,
be ready for the moment, man.
No, I do agree. Like I would say to your point, he wasn't doing anything else well. He's a minus 16 in 11 minutes, but he only took 1 3-point attempt.
Right.
I mean, I think if you are Nurse and you're his teammates, I do think it is on them almost. It's on Buddy, obviously, but it's on them to go, okay, he's got like a 6-minute spurt here, a 5-minute spurt.
Yeah.
Let's try to get Buddy 2 or 3 looks. Let's try to draw him open off of an inbound play.
Yeah.
Because then if he catches fire, then that's something else New York has to focus on down the stretch.
No, I do agree, man. I guess what I'm wondering here, you know, you look back, it is the rebounding, though. It's like I can't ignore the rebounding difference in this game. That's like the number one thing. But, you know, just the shock factor of Embiid going down in that second. How much do you think that affected the Sixers in this game? Like changed momentum?
I think obviously it definitely crushed them at the end of the first half because that's when New York really went on that run. It's just like you and me. Like, I mean, we were standing the whole first half. As soon as it happened, I took a seat. I just couldn't. I had to like sit there and just like wait for halftime to get here because I was just like, man.
Because his face on the ground. I mean,
that's what where
I thought
it wasn't like he wasn't like
he was like staring into the ceiling.
Yeah, he was like, oh my god, like this just happened basically. But hopefully he's okay. But I will again. It's the injury, obviously, man. But then you see him come out. And they go from down 12 to like up 4 at the end of the towards the end of the third quarter.
Yeah.
That should wipe everything away. And instead, he needs a breather, and the team falls apart again without him.
Do you go to Mo Bamba? Trust me, I know we went through Mo Bamba sequence throughout the season. Do you give him a shot, man? He's looked good. He's looked great at times.
Why would you not?
But
why would you not?
If you have a rebounding issue.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Paul.
Maybe he can be a rim protector while Embiid's off the floor. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. Just trying something different. I know. Once again, I'm not downing Nick Nurse at the end of the day. I'm not doing that. I'm just curious of the different things we're going to try.
But my question is this. You also have a DeAnthony Melton you're hoping to come back at some point. So
that is interesting.
What's his sliding him at? My whole thing, again, you can't just pull time out of thin air. You can't just make up seconds and minutes. But what made them this I don't know, this different team around Joel Embiid than he's had in years past was the depth. And I feel like you're stripping that away right now just because it's the playoffs. Look, you can't just run your regular season rotations out there. Joel has to play more than 33 minutes. No shit. Okay. But again, I think Joel and Maxey should be the only ones that are locked in to around 40 minutes and dependent on Joel's knee. Everybody else should be a game-to-game basis, how they're playing, what they look like defensively, if they're hitting shots. Don't get me wrong, Nico Batum, we would have been ripping our hair out if he didn't give Nico Batum minutes after what he did against Miami.
Yeah.
But you did give him a 15-minute differential in bench minutes as the highest person off the bench. And he was a minus 20 in those minutes. He hit one shot out of 4. So
do you think
you have to adjust on the fly?
I guess it doesn't really matter. Do you think you'd start Batum over Oubre?
See, I do think I believe yes, because I think when Embiid's not on the floor, man, we need someone to get a bucket. Yeah. Oubre can do that.
I think that's part of Oubre's problem right now.
On Brunson is Kelly to start.
I know.
You can't not start Kelly. The biggest thing, we all know the answer, where Batum slides in. Does he have the nuts to do it?
Yeah.
Part of me thinks Nick does.
I think
he does.
If
you heard the clip when someone asked him about Tobias. He seems as fed up as anybody.
Yeah.
And dude, I don't want to get on this Tobias harping, machine. I know. Everyone knows what the deal is, right? But did you see the clip of the Joel off the backboard dunk and the injury play? Did you see the clip?
Is it when he was on the bench? I don't remember exactly. I remember seeing
something bro. Yeah.
What happened exactly? What did he do?
Tobias is on the bench. Everybody's sitting on the bench, and it's a side view pointing at our bench from Joel. And he puts it down, and everybody on the bench, coaches, every other player stands up and goes nuts. And this dude's sitting here like this.
He's so checked out, bro.
Yeah. So sit him the fuck down.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing, man. That's the thing. I know it's politics. I know it's money because, maybe there's a call coming down from Josh Harris that says you can't do that, right? I don't know. I don't know how it works in the Sixers organization, but tell me why Ricky Council and KJ Martin shouldn't split.
I know.
Scott, why not?
Man, and listen, and I were kind of giving him a pass. He did have 9 rebounds, right? He was hitting the glass more than anybody in the first half. I don't know if you've seen that clip when Kelly, he's guarding Brunson and Kelly comes down and then Tobias runs out to the 3-point shooter and Josh Hart knocks down 3. Yeah. Everybody's ripping. That's not on Tobias Harris.
You're running out to a shooter.
Not even just that. He's on Brunson first. Oubre's the one late getting back. Oubre should take
not even his fault.
Guy. He comes up because it's his guy, and now Tobias. And people do need to chill on that front. But again, 31 minutes, 7 mother effing points, dude. Yeah, when does that stop? When does that stop?
And so, maybe that's why you do bench him. See if he can come in when Embiid goes off the floor and maybe score the basketball or something. Try something, right? Try something different. That's the one thing this season that we haven't tried is Tobias off the bench. Let's see what that looks like, man. I would love to see it. But
and it would be better for him, too, I think, at this point.
I do agree, man. Take the spotlight off of him.
Now, I would like to take a second to address this, because you and I you tweeted some things out on Friday and Saturday about how this series is going to be very interesting, and from a player perspective too, right? Like Paul Reed had some things to say. Josh Hart responded. There's been some back and forth. It's Philly versus New York, but I feel like we get to this point every time around in the playoffs, no matter who we're facing when it comes to opposing fan bases. Is this the most delusional fucking fan base to ever exist?
I thought we were pretty delusional, but
you are the number 2 seed at home, game 1 of the first round. You win. You don't hit the fucking streets like you just won the Super Bowl and party and throw out all these corny chants and just first
burning jerseys.
Unbelievable thing that I
burning Joel Embiid jerseys.
Yeah. And by the way, I don't know if you've seen the clips. Whatever Sixers fan that was that just wanted to be a part of the party, you're done. You're done.
Yeah, you're done. You're done, motherfucker.
Live it. Go to New York. Do whatever you got to do.
Yeah,
you're done. Because we all saw you in the background of that video. All right. Secondly, cheering for the injury, like saying you weren't. Guys, the crowd level's here. When you notice that he's laying on the ground, the crowd level gets to hear. Okay? And the last thing, man, the Twitter, right? I saw the Brunson Muse page posted something this morning talking about why are 76ers fans talking about Joel's injury, this, and that? Like we don't have a 25, 9, and 5 all-star missing from our lineup. Does that not exist? What in the blue hell is wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
These motherfuckers want Julius Randle off the team.
I know.
He's the Tobias Harris of the Knicks, dog. Like, come on, man. Come on.
And this was the last thing I was going to bring up. So Joel was 8 for 22. He didn't have his best game. Mitchell Robinson, whatever.
The Embiid stopper, bro.
But I will throw out there, like they were tweeting like this, and that. Like again, what was the one thing we talked about? The non-Embiid minutes. Like, bro, the man was a plus 14 in 37 minutes. Yeah, he undoubtedly has to shoot better. Like 8 of 22 is not going to cut it. But like,
absolutely,
you didn't stop nobody. Nobody else stepped up to the plate while Miles McBride and Josh Hart and other guys went unconscious.
Yeah, man.
Like, I don't know. So yeah, we'll see, man. Just game 1 had so much just random annoyance to it. And I think you can look at it one of two ways. Like we said, you can either look at it and say, well, Brunson really can't play any worse, and that's a scary thought.
Yeah.
Or you can look at it and go, that's what Nurse wanted to accomplish. They accomplished it. The other guys aren't going to hit those shots over the course of a 7-game series. Our guys aren't going to shoot as poorly as they did on this Saturday night.
Yeah, there's a lot of different, like you said, man. Because, I mean, Kyle Lowry, maybe he's not going to hit 4 threes in a game again, right? Like, maybe that was the Kyle Lowry game.
Right.
But Kelly Oubre is due for a good game. Like, it's been a while since Oubre had his typical scoring game, right?
Kelly's been awesome this season, right?
Yeah.
You had a play-in game. You had this game.
Got to come
11 and 10. Got to step it up.
Yeah. I get it's physical.
He's playing better on the defensive end.
But that's when we need you the most, right? Like, I get these teams are physical. The Heat and the Knicks, 2 of the most physical teams in the NBA. That's when we need you the most. So you can't disappear now.
Kelly did have 5 steals, though. Jesus Christ.
He was playing hard on the defensive end. That's why I'm like, I'm not going in on him. It's just we do need more offensively.
You do need more out of him offensively.
Yeah.
You do, for sure.
Nick Batum, I mean, obviously he can be better.
If you had to point to the one guy, man, I keep looking back at Buddy Hield. Now, I know it's not fair when he gets the second least minutes on the team, but that's the guy. Oh, Gint. Oh, you already missed. You missed the little rant, Gint. You You missed the little rant, bro. I don't need
we can't talk about him
any more of them. I don't need to see any more.
Ain't it crazy, man? Looking back, they matched that offer sheet from Utah. That was interesting.
Yeah, no wonder he's happy about it. And I will say, like, you go back and you look at the score sheet. I mean, he had 3 offensive rebounds. He had 5 total rebounds in 11 minutes. He was 2 of 3 shooting, and he had a block. And you go, man, maybe
why did it feel like that?
Yeah, I watched
Paul Reed
play, and I watched a lot of Knicks offensive rebounds.
My thing with so I do get the idea of playing Paul Reed with Joel Embiid. I do get it because you can move Joel Embiid out, near the 3-point line, near the mid range. Sure. You can let Paul Reed go box to box and try to rebound. But where do those minutes come in? Like where? Like when are you taking Oubre or Batum off the court for Paul Reed to put Paul Reed next to Embiid? Like that's my only problem with it. Like I'm not starting Paul Reed. That's not fucking happening. So where do those minutes come in? Because the point of Paul Reed right now is to get Embiid off the floor and give him a rest, right?
Right.
It's not to give guys. We got guys to come in for Tobias and Oubre, but I don't know. Maybe it's I don't know because you only played Batum as your wing off the bench, right? Like I guess you can consider Buddy Hield a wing, but
do you miss small ball Marcus Morris? That's what I would ask.
It
can't be much worse.
Can't be worse than Tobias, though. Can't be worse than Tobias. That's for sure.
It's a very fair point. I'd love to know what Gant wants to do with Tobias, though.
Yeah, I'm interested. What does Gant? I'm curious, Gant. What do you think about And for everybody out there, Gant used to be on the show. I'm curious, but
I don't know how possible this is, right? Like. Because of the money, how much, say that the front office might have because of the contract, etc. If Nick Nurse did have those, that's set to bench him, right? What happens when he's a no-show off the bench for a game or two? How long is the road to a DNP? Because if you make the move to throw him on the bench and give him 20, 25 minutes off the bench, and he scores 4 points and continues to look the way he has, there's no other place you can go. You can't move him back to starting lineup because he hasn't done anything to prove himself to get him back in the starting lineup. He's continuing to hurt the team in those 20 to 25 minutes. How far along are we from him being a coach's DNP? I don't think it ever happens because I don't think he gets benched in the first place.
Yeah.
But, I mean...
Because that means he's getting sat for KJ Martin or, Ricky Council. I just don't see that happening, but I don't know. It is interesting. I mean, I think at this point, the biggest thing is that it shouldn't matter. His money, all of that, it doesn't matter. That contract's coming to an end this offseason. Shouldn't be worried about wanting to retain him to make him happy here. Shouldn't be worried about that. So all in all, you do what you have to do. That's what I would ultimately say, but we know that it just doesn't work like that with the politics of it.
Scotty, the dude scored 3 more points than Paul Reed in 20 more minutes.
Yeah, we're going in on Paul Reed right now, but would Paul Reed be better than Tobias Harris in the starting lineup?
Right.
I think honestly, rebounding, I think he might be. Am I tripping? You know what I mean? I could be tripping. I could be. Because he's not going to step out and space the floor and hit a 3. But he'll bang down there and get rebounds and maybe foul somebody hard.
The problem is that Paul is tempted to take a 3 from time to time.
Yeah. My hope is that Embiid being out there, you're taking something off of Embiid for a little bit.
That's true.
Keep him out, as a floor spacer. But I don't know, man. The fact that we're having to discuss Paul Reed and Embiid minutes right now, we haven't seen it really all season.
And I think the issue is that shouldn't even be a conversation with how deep this team is.
It shouldn't, man. It shouldn't. But
all right,
here we are.
Let's get off of the negativity and the recap, and let's move forward to tonight. And we've kind of transitioned into what can they change rotation wise and player wise, but within the game, things need to change. And I think we've already hinted at the fact that, hey, I don't know, maybe it's a good idea to and a defensive possession with a rebound every once in a while.
That would be good.
Be a good start. But it is critical for this team to come out and steal this one tonight. Yeah. Like we always say, right? Like when the Phillies go and play the Braves, when the Sixers go and play Boston last year, it doesn't matter which one. You come back 1-1. It doesn't matter if you take the first one or the second one. You just have to take home court back. And I think, like we talked about with how New York played, with what the Sixers did defensively, I think you see kind of the window of opportunity to get in there and what you have to do to steal a game. And I wouldn't even necessarily call it stealing a game, but to win this game.
Yeah.
But they have to come back 1-1. Because a very bad part of me thinks, and I know it's a very long series, but if they come back down 2-0, a very, very bad part of me thinks they head back to New York down 3-1. Just a very weird part of me.
Yeah.
This is almost the game of the series for me. In a weird way.
I feel you. I do. I think, obviously it's a long series. Things can change game to game, but yeah, I think this one, it's a tone setter, right? Like it's a tone setter. Like, is New York going to control home court advantage or not? Let me ask you this, just as kind of a preemptive question for tonight. From the Knicks perspective, what do you think that they'll try to do differently tonight? Like, if you were the Knicks, what would be your big change coming into this game? You won, right? You won. Josh Hart hit some big threes. McBride hit some big threes. Brunson had an off game. Dante DiVincenzo had an off game. What are you focusing on if you're the Knicks coming into this game, or does everything stay the same? You won the rebounding battle by 20.
I mean, I think they definitely stick to their identity in that sense, right? Like they're gonna, let's be gritty, let's be physical, let's crash the glass, let's throw these bodies at Joel. I think from that perspective, from the hustle and the defensive side, yes, they stay the same. If you are Tom Thibodeau, though, do you live with the idea that Josh Hart has to hit these shots? That Miles McBride has to hit these shots? Or do you try to get Brunson going? Do you try to get your best player going and, almost forcing it in a way? Like he still took 26 shots.
Yeah. It's not like he was like, it's not like he wasn't getting his looks.
Yeah. So, from that perspective, I think defensively, hustle-wise, they stay the same.
It's curious.
This is also a good point by Ginn. They do have to find a way.
It's curious to think,
if they don't tame Maxey, you might be looking at a 35 to 40-point night.
Yeah. The thing to think about here as well, Dylan, how many of those Brunson missed shots turned into offensive rebounds into threes?
Right.
Like, I'm curious what that number is out of those 26 shots that he took. Of the misses, how many were rebounded and turned into a three by another player?
Yeah.
So that's
I agree, man.
Think about as well.
This too. So first of all, the free throws in game one ended like 28 to 22 or 30 to 22. So the discrepancy wasn't that bad, dude. The first half, they shot 20 free throws. The New York Knicks. I think we shot 6 or 8.
Some touch fouls, man. In a physical
20 free throws in a half. Like, are we kidding ourselves?
Right.
So that's got to cut. That shit has to be cut out too. I know in New York you might get a favorable whistle, but I mean, come on, man. But So
Josh Hart shot 10 free throws, dog. Like, get out of here, man. That's effort, though. Once again, you got to get to the ball first, man. True. That's all that is. Him getting to the ball.
That's where I was going to go. Over. So not because of the refs, but momentum. I think momentum is a very, very key word here. D-Rab, because I think what you saw in the non-Embiid minutes, obviously, but you have to limit the runs the Knicks go on. And I think that happened far too often on Saturday. Like the first quarter, the Sixers, what did we get up by at one point? 7 or 8? We were up by like 8 at one point. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, the Knicks went on like a 17-2 run, 19-2 run. That most certainly cannot happen on the road.
Look, it was excuse me, it was 35 or 34 to 25 in the first quarter. In the second quarter, you got outscored 33 to 12. Yeah, 33 to 12, bro. That was the quarter. In the third quarter, to be fair, we came back 36-21. Fourth quarter, 32-22 their way. So each quarter it kind of fluctuated. They ended up getting the half and they got the end of the game runs, right? Like that is kind of the difference in the game as well, which is just a big part of momentum, like you said, man. So 34 plus 12, that's what, 46 points in the first half. So they ended up with what, 50.
Oh, you scored 12 points.
Yeah, 12
in an
points
entire quarter of a playoff game, bro. Like, think about that. Like, obviously, we know the math, right? It's 21-point swing, but like, you took a 9-point lead in one quarter, and then a 12-point deficit into the half. It's damn near impossible.
It is, man. It is really damn near impossible
for that to happen. And then you came out and ripped the momentum right back.
36,
and I believe we went up by 4 or 5 at some point in the third quarter. And then you gave it right back. So you that's the one thing I'm looking at tonight. You have to limit the runs, man, on the road in front of that crowd in that building. Like no, that's what this team feeds off of. They're not the most talented. They're not the most skilled. They're gritty. They're physical. They're going to feed off of momentum building runs like that with the crowd behind them. So, I mean, you have to rebound. You have to figure out the non-Joel minutes, man.
Come out fast again today. Obviously, you need to play consistent throughout the game, but coming out fast today, I think Tyrese Maxey specifically putting his foot on the gas early, man. Take control of this game. Really, really put your footprint on the game early. But I am interested to see how they come out tonight, man. It's going to be interesting.
I am too. I don't want to get too much into it though, man, because we might be live. I think we might be live for pregame. If you're available, but so do we want to give predictions here? Let's get predictions here. Fuck it. We might have a different crowd with us later. Might have some of the same tuning in. I'll give a prediction early on this Monday morning. I'm going with the Sixers. I know it's hard in a playoff series to do a prediction or a pregame show and not go with the team you're riding, right? Like, to not want them to win that badly.
Yeah.
But I look at it as it is backs up against the wall. You have to come back to Philly 1-1. You have to make a statement this game. And I think they'll do so. Listen, we're going to be sitting on pins and needles all afternoon waiting to get that update from Joel Embiid, just waiting for that confirmation that he's in. And is he 100%? God, no.
Hey, look at this one.
Oh, no.
Tyrese Maxey will not be at shoot-around today and is questionable to play tonight in Game 2 with an illness. That's Tim Bontemps.
Listen, IVs. Dude, kid, I need you, bro. Like, you got to get pumped with whatever those doctors and that squad can throw your way, can get into those veins. Stay oh my God.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm going to give my prediction still on the basis that Tyrese Maxey will play through an illness. He said Kyle Lowry masterclass. Yeah,
Kyle Lowry's legs are probably fucking exhausted. His legs are probably still recovering today, like literally. I think that was the thing with Batum, man. He had the big game against Miami.
Win, okay, Maxey's going to play. Embiid's going to play. They're both going to show up.
Maxey's going to play.
And at least one other guy off the bench, or whether it's Kelly or whoever, is going to step up with at least 20 points in this game.
The Maxey flu game.
Will come away with a win.
It's the Maxey flu game. But I do feel you. I think, ultimately we've seen this before. I mean, guys come into these games questionable. It's the playoffs. What else do you play all season for if you're not going to play in the postseason? So,
I mean, illness was not the word I thought you were about to say. And listen,
what did you think? Where was your heart at?
I don't know. Just any type of little injury or that,
like an ankle,
whatever that something he had going wrong. Yeah. But listen, it's shoot around. If he has to miss shoot around, he has to miss shoot around. They probably just have to designate him as questionable because he missed shoot around. But kid.
Yeah, we need him. I mean, we absolutely, and we need him at his
best. If he doesn't play, they're going back to Philly down 0-2.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
Tim Bontemps
is all from the mastermind of Nicholas Nurse. Okay.
I find it weird that Tim Bontemps is the only one that has this. Like, no Philly, no Kyle Neubeck, he doesn't have this. Like, nobody in Philly has this. Just Tim Bontemps. Oh, there's Keith Pompey. Okay.
Classic Keith.
Yeah.
Well,
interesting, man.
Give your prediction.
Yeah, let me get to the point here. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go with the Sixers W, barring Tyrese Maxey playing. I think you have to bounce back tonight, and I think it's kind of like you said, it is a momentum game because it's one of these games where you have to impose your will if you are the better team tonight, right? Like, you need this game. Your backs are against the wall. You don't want to go back to Philly down 0-2 to this team. If you lose this game tonight, New York Knicks have now taken, control of the series in a sense of they've done what they needed to do to start this series, right? And they've imposed their will as the number 2 seed going up 2-0. And at that point, now you have to ask yourself, are the Sixers truly the better team? And that's where you'll be tonight if the Sixers lose this game. You're going to start questioning yourself. It's going to be hard to believe that the Sixers can win this series if they're down 0-2. So it can't happen. And so if the Sixers are who I think they are, being the better team than the Knicks, then they will win this game because they have to. And we talked about stealing one of the first 2 games, in a series on the road. It's always a huge part of the series. Doesn't mean that it's over if you don't, but things are definitely looking a lot more bleak if you don't. I think it's as simple as this, man. You come out tonight, you come out with the mindset. Every single player on that Sixers roster comes out here and says, I'm going to come out and try to grab 5 rebounds tonight, right? Like, Embiid, obviously 15 rebounds. For different guys, it's going to be different measurements. But for the bare minimum for each player, come in and grab 5 rebounds off the glass tonight. Make that your goal. It's not going to happen for everybody. But if you go for 5, you'll get 3, you'll get 2, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, for whatever you do, man.
Help
bet
the team.
Each other.
Impact the game.
Don't bet on each other.
Right. Don't bet on the sports book.
Bet
you can bet each other.
Room, okay. Make it a little competition. Whatever the fuck you got to do.
Yeah.
To get your asses on the glass.
I think that's the crazier part, man. Like, Maxey's sick. We come into this game and Embiid's not 100%, but you didn't really lose the game because of that. You know what I mean? Like, if that makes sense. Like, obviously, Embiid being 100% can make a difference in that game. He's going to look a lot better against Mitchell Robinson to close the game. But all that being said, you did get out-rebounded by 20-plus rebounds. 22. So, like, all of that being said, you can still control the controllables and give effort on the boards, man. And I think that's where they start tonight. And they can work themselves into a good W on the road tonight. It's going to be a close game, though. I do believe that. Knicks are going to try to control their home court as they should. And I do believe it'll be a close game. I think Brunson will play a lot better. I think Dante DiVincenzo will play a lot better. But that being said, there's room for other guys on our team. We need Oubre to step up. We need Nick Batum to just be ready to hit shots from the corner, right? Buddy, he'll come into the game and make an impact. Don't just be a no-show when you're on the floor. Yeah, those are the things I'm looking for.
There is a certain max contract player on the roster still.
Give a Ricky Council, give a KJ Martin a shot tonight. It doesn't have to be long. Just give him a shot at some point, right?
I agree.
But Tobias, just look alive, my man. Impact the game. Try any way you can to impact the game outside of like throwing the ball over the rim on a 3-point attempt, my man. There's a lot of things that can change tonight. There's a lot of different ways this thing can go, but I am feeling confident just off of the vibes of the team, where the guys seem to be at from their post-game interviews. The Maxey flu game, man, that's a little wrench tossed in, right?
Yeah, a little wrinkle I wasn't expecting.
Little wrinkle, man. But I don't know.
Anyway, that is going to wrap up this Monday show of the Phaithful Phanatics Show, guys. As always, if you are new to the channel, if you are watching live on Twitter right now, and you have commented and we have not brought it up, that is because we cannot see it. So if you are on Twitter and you want to be interactive throughout the show, make sure head on over to the YouTube channel, subscribe, and that's where you can get your comments and questions pulled up here on the screen with us. We will be live later tonight for Sixers Knicks pregame around 6 p.m. for myself, for Scotty, for DSM. Have a great rest of your night.
Peace, everybody.